Now, before I start this video, I just want to say that this game came out a decent amount of time ago. I think everything that there is to be said about this game has already been said. I don't have a whole lot of new shit to contribute. The video's late, but god damn it, it's my video and I want to make it. Today we're talking about Marvel's PS4 Spider-Man Insomniac games. We're talking about that one. And I gotta say, I've been on a Spider-Man kick lately. Whether it's Into the Spider-Verse being one of my favorite fucking movies now, this game, I went to Universal Studios, there's Spider-Man rides and shit. Like, I've been living some Spider-Man childhood dreams up, which I think that would be a nice little intro to this game, just kind of giving my background with Spider-Man and his games in general. Because as a kid, like, I fucking love Spider-Man. Spider-Man still is probably my favorite superhero. I love the Sam Raimi movies as a kid. The third one, obviously not as much, but I love the first two. I like the fucking Amazing Spider-Man, not as much, but I liked it. And growing up, I played a lot of the Spider-Man games. I played the, like, PlayStation Spider-Man games where Stan Lee was, like, the narrator. That was a fun game. I don't know which ones I actually finished, but I know I played all three of the Spider-Man games that were based off the Sam Raimi movies. The first Spider-Man game was kind of like an insignificant version of the second one, which I already had at the time, so I just played the shit out of Spider-Man 2, which I love the fact that that's being hailed as like this great hidden gem PS2 game. Some random fucking game I rented from a fucking supermarket. I didn't even rent it from a supermarket. I rented that PS2 game off of a dusty shelf in a fucking grocery store. Kids these days, right? They don't understand. And I also played Spider-Man 3, which wasn't as fun. Like, I don't want to do enemy faction like shit. I just want to like deliver pizzas. That's what I wanted to do as a kid when I was Spider-Man. I just wanted to deliver pizzas and shit. Like, leave me alone. And ever since then, there have been a lot of Spider-Man games. I have ignored all of them. When this game came out, I ignored it because there have been so many Spider-Man games and I don't know the comic book lore because I'm a fucking loser and shit. Like, I can't keep up. I can't keep up. Stop it. There's too much shit. I don't have time. Like, even like 2 or 3 years ago, there's a Spider-Man game that got hype and everyone was like, oh, you gotta fucking play it. And then like I rented it and I was like, no, the fuck I don't. But then it all happened again. There was another Spider-Man game and it got all of this hype. And then it started to really get hype, and then it like was getting nominated for like Game of the Year and shit. And like some of my YouTuber people I watch were like, "This is my favorite fucking game. You gotta fucking play it." And I was like, "Oh, maybe I should pick this game up." So I picked it up, bought it full price. Last time I did that, I can't remember. Bought full price Spider-Man game, and I played it. And I procrastinated on it, and I didn't play it for a while. But I finally picked it back up, and holy shit, it was so much fun. I beat it. It was incredible. Let's just run this whole game down. First off, the movement, the fluidity. I, again, don't have anything to say that hasn't been said 1,000 times, but Spider-Man 2, I remember back in the day how much I loved just flinging around the city, how realistic that was. And that's just like something I can appreciate. Like, video games, they're dope. I can be Spider-Man. If I want to play Batman Arkham City, I can be Batman. Like, it's crazy. Like, when I'm flying around the city, like shooting webs and doing all these parkour tricks, like, you feel like you're Spider-Man. And it's the craziest, coolest thing. Like, people will be like, oh, why don't you fucking go outside and play football? No, I want to be fucking Spider-Man. Fuck you. I don't know how this video about Spider-Man made me go on a rant about how cool fucking video games are and how much I'd rather do cool shit in them than face the real world. But yeah, that's the type of that's the levels to this fucking game that I went on. And I gotta be honest, this is one of the most coherent and like dense stories of Spider-Man I've ever gone on. Like, again, I played these games when I was a kid. I was a Spider-Man fan when I was like a kid. Now that I'm finally an adult and I'm learning more of these characters, and this is probably the easiest, greatest interpretation of Doc Ops I've ever seen, and Spider-Man 2 did an amazing job. I gotta say, he's probably my favorite Spider-Man villain now. A lot of other characters have new layers of depth that I've never seen before. Mary Jane, Aunt May, Osborn, who's a mayor in this. I know, again, I don't follow the comic books, and seeing Spider-Man as a older adult is so much cooler. I can't stand, like, for some reason, I don't know why everyone just thinks Spider-Man is a teenager. He gets older, people. He goes and does shit as an adult, and I'm more interested in that now that I'm an adult. And that's what he does in this, and it's awesome. And there's so many things I feel like I understand about Spider-Man now. Like, I always wondered, like, dude, you can get some money. Just do something. Do something to get some money and just not be broke all the time. Like, when I was watching Spider-Man 3, I was like, dude, you can fucking, like, just get a GoFundMe or something. Fuck. But watching this, I was like, no. Being Spider-Man is a full-time job, and he doesn't know or have even the time to care about money. Like, you really feel like you're a fully committed superhero in this game, and that's not just because you're always flinging around the city, always doing these crime chases and all these other things always constantly happening, but like you really feel like you step into the shoes of this guy and like you understand his work ethic. You understand the work ethic of fucking Spider-Man, and it fucking sucks. And you really fully appreciate how selfless this guy is because he's nonstop. If he's not doing Spider-Man, he's fucking Peter Parker and being an amazing, selfless person that way. And you just respect him all the more. And I'm not gonna lie, like, I love the Batman Arkham combat. I love that a bunch of games have adopted that, and it's become like this kind of action game standard now. But this game takes that basic concept and makes it so much more. And this game, I played on amazing difficulty. It was probably one of the greatest, most fulfilling campaigns I've done in a while because I was really being forced to, like, always be on my feet, always, like, I would, like, slow down time by looking at my gadgets just to, like, think shit out. I was always doing different things, always, even at the end of the game, trying different ways, and I still don't feel like I cracked the barrel. Like, I feel like there's, did I just say crack the barrel? Is that, like, an expression? Crack the where the fuck did I get barrel? I feel like I didn't crack the surface even with how much you could do in this game because there's so much I feel like I could do acrobatically with Spider-Man. There's so much more, like, combos I haven't gotten into. Like, I feel like I barely tapped into what you could do with this game, and those are the kinds of games that make me really want to replay them. Like, some people argue if you're on easy difficulty you can't fully appreciate like a combat system. I disagree, because even I feel like someone playing on easy difficulty for this game, they can understand, or at least like they can see down the rabbit hole of how far that system goes. And I feel like it's like that with most games, but with Spider-Man you really want to fully be challenged and fully be immersed in what you're doing here, because this is a very fun combat system because you have so many things to do. At any moment you could be doing different varieties, different attacks, different gadgets. You're always thinking outside the box. You're always thinking, how do I want to approach these guys? Stealth, I know that's like, it's always, do I want to use stealth or do I want to go guns blazing? There's more to it than that in this game. Oh, and let's talk about New York City, the entire fucking giant city that you get to roam around in this game. You can go jump on a building. I can climb up that building and look in the windows, and there's fucking shit going on in those windows. This is a fully immersed city. I don't care how fucking big your map is, if it's not dense and fun and creative and actually feel real, then it doesn't matter. I'd rather take a smaller map like this anyway. And people are saying like this game is short. This game took me hours to beat. Like, hours. I know I did like all the side missions and shit as I did the campaign. Like, if you just run through the campaign, I'm sure it's not as long. But this was a fully experienced game for me. I don't think it was short. I don't think there was anything to say about it not living up or not having enough material or content, because I got all that I could want and more. And I know a lot of people like 100% this game because it's the kind of game that will make you want to 100% it. Oh, there's so many things to do, whether it's just taking pictures of the landmarks and fully appreciating the landmarks. That is such a cool idea. It's one thing to just like make these landmarks, but you gotta point the character, point the gamers in the right direction and make them understand what they're seeing. And not only that, make them see the characters, make them understand who they're fighting. This game just appreciated that so much more. And Insomniac games, like, I want them to do stuff that isn't Ratchet and Clank now. As much as I like Ratchet and Clank, it's still a series that I need to get through, but they seriously have so much more potential than I thought, because this game was high caliber, put their love into a type game, and I'm sorry, unless Ratchet and Clank is like the best series ever and I just didn't know about it, they need to be doing more shit like this. Could I get an Iron Man Insomniac game? Could I get more of this type of shit, please? That being said, there's a couple areas I feel like there could have been a little bit more tightened up in this game. There's two really big enemies. I feel like there is Mr. Negative and this other character are the enemies of the game, and it's kind of like going through the exact same arc twice. Like, there's very similar themes and very similar like action set pieces. It's like, oh, now I get to use MJ, and now I get to use Miles Morales for a little bit. It's very similar set pieces. It's kind of like you're just doing the same game twice, and you're going through the same kind of like almost same dialogue but with different villains. It's just kind of like, as much as I really like the Mr. Negative, I'm not trying to say he was like a bad villain or anything, but it's like I don't like doing the exact same game twice. So yeah. Other side note, you do get to experience a whole list of Spider-Man's other villains, and again, I feel like I just appreciate these characters so much more. Electro, I feel like I have a bigger understanding of him. Even like Rhino, a character like I think is like their easiest like go-to guy to just fight him out of nowhere. Like, I feel like I care a lot more about him. Anyway, I could probably go on about this game for a really long time, but in short, I want to say that this is one of, if not the best superhero game I've ever played. I'm going to put it right up there next to Batman Arkham City, which is one of my favorite games ever. This game was amazing. I'm going to give Spider-Man, do you see what I did there? Amazing. I swear that was unintentional. I'm going to give Spider-Man PS4 a 9 out of 10. Mic drop. I'm not going to actually drop my mic, though. This thing's expensive. Spider-Man has entered my video game Hall of Fame. Let me know down below. Did you guys play Spider-Man? Did you think it was dope? Are you watching this video just because you watch a bunch of Spider-Man videos on YouTube? Let me know down below. And as always, I probably have other videos on this page somewhere that you can click. Hopefully I've made them. If I did, click on it. And until next time, thank you for watching as always. And with that, I leave you.